They also raised questions around pay, incentives, job security and dignity of work. This moment has once again sparked a larger conversation. Are our laws and platforms keeping pace with the people who keep our cities running? So we start by raising that question and then move on to our person of interest, an artist who has never believed in boxes, from fearless performances in Indian cinema to roles that challenge convention and comfort zones. Kalki Kochlin has always walked her own path. Now she's taking a powerful international leap with a French-English dramedy. We will go over to her in just a bit. And then we will get you the biggest highlights from the world of sports, from cricket, the World Cup glory to world records. All the top headlines coming right up. Well, for most of us, New Year's Eve felt like business as usual. Food ordered, cabs booked, packages delivered. But even as the apps kept running, gig workers across the country were protesting. The gig workers' protest may not have shut down deliveries, but it has sparked a bigger conversation about work, wages and the future of India's gig economy. Lakhs of workers across the country raised their voices over low pay, rising pressure and lack of social security. And not for the first time, but this was the latest incident that unfolded before us. Let's understand, when we say gig workers, who are we really talking about? Gig workers are app-based, on-demand workers. They're paid per task, not a fixed salary, and don't have a traditional employer. They're not just delivery partners though. They include drivers, home service professionals, beauty and repair workers, freelancers, even content creators. In fact, all freelancers fall in this category. And how large is this workforce? India's gig economy employs millions and is among the fastest growing employment segments. Let's put numbers to that growth. India had about 7.7 million gig workers in 2020-21. That number is projected to rise to over 23 million by 29-30, which is already making up nearly 7% of the non-agricultural workforce. But if the gig economy is growing so rapidly and providing livelihoods to so many people, why are workers on the streets? They want fair and transparent pay. They want an end to unsafe delivery targets, the 10-minute delivery target that's often set for them, health insurance, accident cover, pensions, protection from penalties, and the right to unionize. But companies argue that the gig model works differently. From the industry perspective, flexibility is the model's biggest strength. Low fixed costs keep platforms viable. Fast deliveries drive competition, and gig work offers quick income opportunities. But for workers, that same flexibility often comes without stability or long-term security. So what actually needs fixing here? Is it the law? Is it the platforms? Or the system itself? To break this down and talk solutions, we are going across to our first guest this morning, Bijan Mishra, citizen activist and author. Good morning, Mr. Mishra. Thank you for being with us here on The Breakfast Club.
Good morning. Good morning. Thanks for inviting me. Lovely to be with your viewers.
Mr. Mishra, we must get down to what happened on the 31st. It's not an objection or a concern which was raised for the very first time. We've seen the gig economy expand year on year, but we're also seeing these repeated complaints, concerns being raised by the workforce that composes or forms the gig ecosystem in the country. What do you make of the latest protest staged by them? It's really not about just equal pay, right? It goes much beyond that.
So it was not only a concern of the gig workers, but I think it was a concern of the citizens of the country. Because there were a very strong link between the provider and the consumer. And we always felt as a consumer that they are not only prompt and timely, but they're efficient. So when they're efficient, then naturally the consumer also wants to know how well they are taken care.
Yeah.
And what are their amenities. And then to our utter surprise, we came to know they're completely underpaid. And of course, you can have an argument saying they're self-employed, they're entrepreneurs by themselves, they have a stable job, plus they want to do this as an extra income to their fixed income, and issues like that, where it is quite contractual in nature. But the bottom line is the attitude. I always felt in our country, unfortunately, the law is very discriminatory. It doesn't give, a kind of an unbiased approach to the citizens. Now, we have a law which talks about minimum wages, minimum amenities, social securities, and other things, but it only gets applicable to, say, government employees or big corporates. It doesn't get applicable to unorganized sector, which is very unfortunate. And we as consumers, I always felt, and my studies have always revealed, that a consumer is willing to pay an extra buck if he's assured of a quality.
Yeah.
And if he is assured that he would get something which is a value for money. So, the competition has to be fair, transparent, accountable. The players in the marketplace have to understand and come with an attitude that they cannot make profit out of exploitation. That's the
And public awareness instantly changes with these kind of protests. How much of a difference, Mr. Mishra, do you think that can play? Because a lot of times, unknowingly, people end up giving into this 10-minute delivery target, which is set by the platforms itself. So the moment the guy is not able to reach your doorstep within 10 minutes, you start firing the platform or you start lodging a complaint with the platform, and at the receiving end of that heat is the delivery partner then.
No, so that is why there has to be a very robust incentivization mechanism. You see, many a times you intend to be the best in terms of your performance, but due to reasons which is beyond your control, you are not able to perform. Which are not within your scope. Like, for example, if there is a traffic jam, if there is a kind of a festival and that gig worker is unable to reach the destination on the designated time, then naturally he cannot be penalized for that because it is beyond his control. And nor he should be incentivized in such a manner that he risks his life. So, I always feel that there is always a solution to every kind of a challenge which is there. And I look at these challenges as opportunities for growth. I have been always talking about consumer protection in the last 45 years in the country only because I am part of the country's growth. I want the country to grow in a manner that we are seen as the most developed country in the world. We are already reaching the 4th position economically in the world. Now, in order to be there, you also have to be ethical.
Yeah.
You can't be there in an unethical manner or not setting certain gold standards for yourself.
But is that recognition reaching the platform owners, Mr. Mishra? Because that is where the change will actually start kicking in, will actually start happening for the delivery partners in this case. So for instance, Swiggy, Zomato, are they doing justice to their delivery partners? And what do you in particular make of the comment that's coming from Dipinder Goyal? He's of course spoken of Zomato, Blinkit, and he's gone on to issue a detailed statement. And I want to read this one line and understand your thoughts on this. He says, one thought for everyone. If a system were fundamentally unfair, it would not consistently attract and retain so many people who choose to work within it. Please don't get swept up by narratives pushed by vested interests. And that entire reaction is on our screens as well for our viewers to go through. But what are your thoughts there?
You see, you can't just throw the baby with the bathwater. No, sorry. You have to be 360 degrees. So the providers have to understand that they have to be transparent. I mean, as a consumer, I want to know how much does this gig worker get? And I was surprised when I heard 10 rupees and 50 rupees and all that, I mean, there has to be some kind of a minimum guarantee. And I always felt like, for example, they all must be insured. That's the first thing. Because if they meet with an accident, they are well taken care. Yeah. If anything happens to them, we know that as a consumer, we are paying for that and they are taken care. So the first is mandatory requirement that we as consumer must know my gig worker is insured in terms of his health, his safety and his future. I want to know that as a consumer and I'm willing to pay for that.
Yeah.
So why will you not make it competitive, transparent, so that all the platforms who are today existing in India are world's best? It's not that we are
But
copying
Mr.
to the
Mishra,
West.
do you honestly think consumers, I don't know if this is lack of awareness or there's more to it, or people want to save as much money, but a lot of consumers are looking at that free delivery, so whatever it takes to get a free delivery, they're going to go
Yeah,
for it. So
that's a very
are they
that's a
really
very,
sensitive
no,
about these small
no, that's a
little
very
issues
good
being faced
question.
by delivery agents?
No, that's a beautiful question you have asked. You see, through your channel, I want to tell the consumer once more, which I keep telling the consumer, that nothing comes free. First, let's understand that. Nothing comes free. So what we all need to understand that everybody in the supply chain, starting from the manufacturer or even the farmer who's growing the raw materials, are all taken care by that end user who is known to be the consumer. And we all must understand that the studies are revealing year after year that the consumers are more than willing to pay for something which is ethical, which is transparent and accountable. So what I have always promoted, even in my own country, is that please encourage competition, bring in transparency, bring in voluntary standards, bring in mandatory standards to ensure that that consumer who is paying for it gets the value for money. So, if you ask me, the percentage of consumers who are very, very price sensitive is minuscule. We can even ignore them in the marketplace. What we need to focus on is how do we convert those price sensitive consumers to become more value sensitive consumers.
Right.
We have to convert that attitude of that small percentage of consumers, only very small percent, who can be very easily converted, let me tell you, with certain mechanisms which are there. The tools are there. Well-studied tools are there, how to convert. So we all need to understand how to apply it. Now, these big lobbies, sometimes when it works, they, most of the time, their focus is enrichment. How do I maximize my profitability?
Yeah.
That's okay. Everybody, profit is a very sweet word, let me tell you. Everybody looks for profit because when I invest money, I need profit. But profiteering is a very bad word. When people start profiteering, I as a consumer, I feel highly cheated. Like for example, misleading advertisements, false promises, not compensating.
Yeah, speaking of false promises, that's another trick which a lot of these delivery agents or these gig workers speak of, that in fact there are companies that have set a norm wherein these people have to, or these workers have to pay a certain amount to get enrolled onto the application or to become a part of the entire ecosystem. So that really is the situation that we're staring at. In fact, if it were not for that one delivery partner whose message went viral on social media where he spoke of how he'd pulled off a 15-hour shift and earned not more than 750 rupees. I think that was the start point to this entire conversation. It was then picked up by Raghav Chadda and the story kept moving forward. If it were not for people like him who had been extremely vocal about their problems, challenges that they're facing, how much of an issue do you think consumers are going to be able to make out of this, Mr. Mishra?
No. See, consumers always look for fairness. And I must confess on your channel that some of the politicians, irrespective of what political ideology they follow, they are pro-consumer. They want to do something for the consumer. But most of the time I have observed that when they are in power, when they have the right to do something, and in a tangible manner implement certain policies, they don't do it. That's the tragedy, and that's where I feel disappointed. So that is why as a consumer, I feel extremely happy to talk across political ideologies with people who are pro-consumer. And I have very good friends in all political parties who are pro-consumer. And consumer
awareness, consumer reaction is one part of the story, Mr. Mishra, but there are structural changes that need to be made, isn't it? From policy to corporate practices, what's going to ensure better working conditions for gig workers?
Very good question again. Very good question. You see, my opening remark, I think you would have heard it. law has to be non-discriminatory. It cannot be something for somebody and something for somebody else. You know, when I always compare, the gold standard is government employees. If I am giving something out of taxpayers' money to a government employee, then a non-government employee who is coming from an unorganized sector should get the same amenities, if not more. You know, let government set those standards. And they always have an excuse that the prices will go up, cost will go up, consumers will not find it affordable. I don't believe that. I don't believe that.
So you're saying profit margins will not take a hit?
No,
In
not
case
at all.
If gig
No,
workers
I
are
tell you,
indeed treated as employees, just like
it will
other
not.
sectors? Okay.
It will not. Let me explain to you. And this is again out of my 45 years of experience in this area. You know, what really takes a hit is your inefficient mechanisms. If you're inefficient, you will get a hit. But if you're efficient and you're able to compete in an efficient manner with the best practices, you will never get a hit. Your margin, in fact, will increase. It will not decrease. So I am a big proponent of quality. You know, I always feel quality is something where there is a continuous improvement based on customer feedback. And customer feedback is paramount. In my country, unfortunately, again, the complaint redressal mechanism in our country of consumers, the feedback mechanism of consumers is not taken up in a serious manner. It is not.
Would you, Mr. Mishra, again to zoom out a little, and we're coming to the end of this conversation, but would you say this is something as new? It's not as new as AI, but the challenges that we're facing with AI in regulating the use of AI, in setting the right guardrails. Do you think there's a little bit of that story repeating itself here? It is a relatively newer phenomena.
No. Let me take you back 30 years back. You know, when computerization was coming into the banking sector, I remember sitting in meetings where the trade union leaders were opposing computerization. They were opposing. And we were very few of us in the policy making bodies where we were trying to explain to the trade union leaders how good computerization will bring to the country in terms of efficiency and delight to the customer. They then agreed. And you won't believe, after implementation, the trade union leaders were approaching me saying, I want a computer, I'm not getting a computer. Now look at the change in the attitude.
Yeah.
You know, if you give them the best of tools, if you give them the best of ecosystem and environment, their efficiency goes up. So with this change in terms of what we are looking at, the gig workers will bring in a drastic change in terms of the ecosystem, in ensuring that the consumer doesn't get something which is compromising quality.
And the numbers already suggest that growth. So we're already headed in that direction. But perhaps, you know, what we need is a little more acceleration of these kind of changes, positive changes can be brought in. Thank you so much, Mr. Mishra, for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Very nice talking to you early morning, and have a great day.
Thank you.
And great day to all your viewers. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. With that, let's shift our attention to what's happened the last few days. It's been New Year celebrations all over. Countries around the world have welcomed the New Year. People in London, and we keep up with those visuals, enjoyed the spectacle of thousands of fireworks lighting up the night sky, while in Edinburgh, crowds gathered for Cockmillow despite cold weather warnings. In New York, and we'll be pulling up those visuals as well, the ball dropped in Times Square amid a lot of cheer. This was watched by a crowd estimated to be around 1 million strong. And then the island of Kritimati, an atoll in the remote Pacific nation of Kiribati, was the first place to enter 2026. So these are some of the best pictures we've managed to pick up from across the world. All right, with that, it's time for us to head into a very short break. Coming up next is our person of interest. We'll be going over to Kalki Kochlin, the artist who's never believed in boxes. We'll talk about her story, the latest venture, the project she's most excited about. We'll be right back.
बराबर उनको सब एक बराबर सजा होना चाहिए, इसलिए सभी ने बार किया। खाली साकू मारा वो बाग किया, बाद में किया है बोला उसका ऊपर दोष नहीं होना चाहिए। मतलब सभी ने एक बराबर को उसको सजा मिलना चाहिए।
There are 6 people involved in this murder. There is a casteist slur which the victim is alleging, which is there in the FIR, but the police has not invoked section 102.
They just told तुम्हारा जैसा यहाँ पे हजारों लोग आते हैं कंप्लेंट लिखवाने के लिए, हम किसका सुनेंगे, यहाँ से जाओ मत, ऐसा करके बोल दिया उन लोगों ने, पुलिस ने। तो दे टोटली रिफ्यूज डायरेक्टली।
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Devastating tragedy has shaken the nation. India's cleanest city now finds itself in the spotlight for a heartbreaking reason, viewers. 14 people have died caused by contaminated drinking water. What began on Christmas Day with complaints of foul-smelling tap water has now escalated into full-blown public health crisis, viewers. Investigations reveal that a leaking pipeline beneath a public toilet allowed sewage to seep into the water supply. Today, more than 150 residents are receiving treatment in hospitals, with several battling for their lives. Among the victims is a 5-month-old infant as well. Under mounting pressure, the state government has acted swiftly, suspending 3 officials and dismissing 1 as accountability is sought in the wake of this disaster. Have a look.
बालों को दस्त लगे हुए थे, बुखार आ रहा था, उसको डॉक्टर को हमने दिखाया था। चाइल्ड स्पेशलिस्ट डॉक्टर है, उन्होंने मेडिसिन लिख के दे दी थी, हम घर ले आए थे उसको। तो ये 26 तारीख को दिखाया था हमने। 2 दिन ठीक रहा बच्चा, मतलब ठीक है। अब दस्त लगे तो नर्वस तो होता ही है बच्चा थोड़ा, ये सोच के हमने ठीक है मंडे को दिखा देंगे। रात को अचानक एकदम उसको तेज़ बुखार आया, उल्टी हुई उसको, और वहीं घर पे हो गया। नॉर्मली जो बच्चों को दस्त डायरिया होता है, जो भी मतलब लगते हैं, अपन तो यही नॉर्मली सोचते हैं। हॉस्पिटल नहीं, अपना क्लिनिक है यहाँ पर, डॉक्टर सिरोंज करके है, 3 पुलिया पे है, उनको ही दिखाया था हमने। उन्होंने मेडिसिन बच्चे का चेकअप करा था और मेडिसिन लिख के दे दी थी।
वही मैं अभी कन्फ्यूज़न में हूँ, क्योंकि सरकारी आंकड़ा अभी भी 4 है। क्योंकि मैं उधर भागीरथपुरम में जब घूम के आया तो वहाँ पर 8 हो गया। इसलिए हम देखेंगे कि जो 4 सरकार ने कैसे जोड़े और 4 जो वहाँ के लोग बता रहे हैं वो कैसे हैं। वहाँ के डॉक्टर्स का कहना था कि कुछ नेचुरल डेथ है। हम देख लेंगे, यदि डायरिया से हुई होगी तो उनको भी जो माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी घोषणा के अनुसार राशि दी जाएगी।
क्या कहना क्या चाहती कांग्रेस पार्टी? क्या आपने खुद भी एक इसके लिए जांच दल बनाया है?
नहीं, जांच दल तो 5 तारीख को अपनी रिपोर्ट देगा। 2 नगरीय प्रशासन मंत्री उसमें डाले गए हैं। अभी कुछ नहीं दिखता, एक बात दिखती है कि 13 लोगों की मौत हुई और जहरीले पानी से हुई है, और उसके लिए अगर कोई दोषी है तो नगर निगम महापौर।
Welcome back. Our person of interest is Kalki Kochlin, an actor who has always taken the road less traveled. She's now stepping into international cinema with her song. It's a French-English dramedy Set in a small village in southern France, she plays Olivia, an American writer who returns to her grandmother's village during COVID-19 and begins to uncover connections between the past and the present. The film is backed by Oscar winner James Ivory and leans into intimate character-driven storytelling. So let's straight away go over to her to understand what this experience was like and what is she most excited about as far as his latest project is concerned. Hi there, Kalki. Good morning. Thank you for being with us. You look lovely as always. Let's start with her song. Tell us all about it, and most importantly, when it first came to you, what touched you the most about the film? And as an actor shaped by Indian cinema, what did this film allow you to explore more deeply within yourself?
So her song was sent to me by John Keller, the director, and he has sent me many scripts before this. You know, because he's a very prolific writer. He doesn't stop writing. He's also got many novels out, and yeah, I was like, yes, I'll do this. Like I'll do every other script you've sent me. He's very witty. He's very funny, and it shows in his writing. He has a very unique sense of humor, and you know, to take something which is quite heavy in terms of subject matter, World War II and COVID pandemic, and make something which is ironic and light is an amazing capacity. So that's what I loved about it, and it's also really refreshing for me to do a comedy, since I don't get the chance to do comedy much. In Indian cinema, I tend to be seen as the actor who does serious work or, you know, very dark work, and I actually really enjoy doing comedy.
So far it had been serious, dark, but also unique. All your films have been so very unique, Kalki. But speaking of her song, you perform both in French and English in the film. Now this is your language, both of them you're comfortable with, but still, did moving between the two languages change how you felt as a performer?
So the language thing was, yeah, definitely scary for me to perform in French. It's not something I'm used to doing. And then to have this American accent in the parts where I'm speaking in English. So yeah, both these things were new to me. Switching between languages, I think that that's something we do all the time, like in Hindi, English. So it's not so much the switching between, it's just the fact that these languages are not my first, you know, my first languages, or yeah. I don't speak them on a daily basis.
You've already given us a lowdown on how it was working with John Keller, and there's also legendary James Ivory. What is the one moment or lesson from working with them that truly stayed with you or is with you as we speak?
John is a very, he's somebody who's very relaxed on set, and he doesn't really tell you what to do, but he will make you do it 100 times. Not 100 times, but he'll make you do it again and again in different ways. He's like, do something else, do something else, do something else. So he's very much about like finding the spontaneity in the moment, and James Ivory is just a wonderful man. He's 97 years old, so the very fact that he's still working, that he's still producing, he's still writing, is very inspiring. And when he came for our screening, he, you know, came all on his own with just a walking stick and had a great time, came up, spoke after the film, spent the whole evening, drank champagne, had dinner with us. You know, so I was just in awe of this man whose life is still so full and so you know, alive and very much active at the age of 97.
Yeah, sounds fascinating. Kalki, living and filming in a French village, tell us about that experience. Just 80 people in the village. I'm sure it was very different from the scale of, you know, your usual film sets. So how did that simplicity, the closeness shape your performance, and something possibly that stayed with you, yeah?
Yeah, on our film sets we have 80 people just on set. And here the crew was, I think, 20 people. which was anyway the biggest crowd this village had seen in years. So it is quite a different setup. But of course, there's some advantage to, walking to work. I was walking every day on this beautiful countryside walk. I would see sheep. I would cross over, I'd see some goats, some cows, and no noise. And yeah, you chat to the villagers, you get to know everybody because everybody's a neighbor. And in fact, all of them participated, all of them contributed, everyone was in our film.
How nice. Kalki, you've also moved into darker spaces. Alongside this film, we've seen Bhay inspired by Gaurav Tiwari and other upcoming horror series. What draws you to these stories? You've spoken about how you have in the past worked on horror or serious films, but what about these few picks that you've made?
Yeah, Bhay was very intense, and it does take a toll to do these intense roles where you have to cry a lot, or you have to have panic attacks, and you have to constantly be on edge. And so for me, and imagine you're doing that for 12 hours in the day. So when you come out of that, it's really important to detox from it. There are times where I just need to listen to some stand-up comedy on the way home, or I'll put on some music and dance, or even during in between the takes, I will be sitting and making jokes with friends or with colleagues that I'm working with. So yeah, it's very important to do that, or otherwise you're it becomes very heavy on your body and on your emotional system.
And here's a question, Kalki, I ask every actor I speak to, which is OTT platforms. OTT platforms have completely changed how stories are being watched, how they're being made. And in India as well, we're looking at that phenomena. But there is too much of content out there. What is your take on streaming platforms? What excites you the most about this shift?
I'm really sad that we work really hard on a show for a long time, and then it's just watched in one night, binge watched. It's great that something has that quality that people can't stop watching it, but I always feel so much effort went into that, and now it's gone in 1 second, And I feel maybe I'm just old school, but I feel we need to go back to those times where they used to release an episode a week, and you used to wait to figure out what would happen in X-Files or whatever it is that you were watching. So I miss that, and I hope that somehow that format comes back and people, learn to anticipate and wait for something that's exciting and mysterious. But of course, OTT has opened up so much for everybody in the industry, in terms of crew, in terms of writers, in terms of musicians, actors, creators. There's really a lot more diverse material out there, and I hope that we continue to prioritize creativity and not just try to make the formula that works, or just try to make the one that makes you just want to watch because it's addictive. I think there's something beyond that which needs to come in, which lasts longer, which is a kind of authenticity and a kind of believability when you make something.
Truth be told, sometimes that wait or the anticipation turned out to be quite a torture. So there are a lot of us who really like watching the entire show or series in one go. But there is an ongoing conversation, Kalki, about strong writing, women's representation, meaningful narratives, all of this happening in Hindi cinema. Do you feel we're moving in the right direction, or you think there's still a lot of work to be done there?
I thought we were moving in the right direction. I saw that there was a lot more sort of female leads, whether it's in telecrime or Arya. You know, there are many shows which have female leads, which is really encouraging. But I feel there could be a lot more of it, and we still can do a lot more to show older women in in a more powerful or in a more positive light. Yeah, I feel like definitely a rom-com featuring a woman in her 50s would be welcome.
Lovely thought. Kalki, you lived through moments of uncertainty, of change and letting go, and we're talking both professional spaces and your personal life. How have these experiences shaped the stories you choose to tell today, or the work that you pick today?
I think, you know, this world of cinema is very unpredictable. And as an actor, you've got to be ready to wait it out many times. You've got to be ready to experiment. You've got to be ready to do other things in between. So that's something that I've become better at dealing with, the long spaces in between. And yeah, I do think that, you know, it helps me take my time to wait for something good, because I know how hard it is to make something good. It does take time to create a good show or a good movie. So knowing that, I let the time pass and wait for the right stuff.
Kalki, in a world that asks so much of us all the time, how do you gently take care of your mental well-being? So what is it that you follow? How do you find balance between work life and your own peace?
My mental health is in my calendar like everything else, you know, like I've got slots in for seeing my therapist. I prioritize it. I find it extremely important. It's like maintenance for me, just like going to the gym or any other routine form of exercise is important for the body. Similarly, there's a routine form of exercise for the mind and for mental health.
Lovely. It finds a place in your monthly calendar. How nice. Kalki, finally, for young people today who may be facing pressure or self-doubt or possibly some sort of uncertainty, what is that one message you'd like to share about how they must keep trusting themselves, keep moving forward?
I would really recommend that you curb your social media, because most of our fears, our insecurities come from this sort of button. It's called the like button, and it's disproportionate. The amount of people that now can follow you, the amount of people that can decide if you are a good enough person or not a good enough person, and they don't have a clue about who you really are. And it's the people that you see every day, that you interact with in real life every day, who actually know who you are and what you're made of. So don't forget that and keep them close to you.
Okay, so we're going to wrap up this conversation on that very wonderful and positive note. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for joining us, Kalki. Okay, with that, we shift our focus to what next? What else is lined up in 2026? Bollywood's 2026 box office lineup looks massive, with big stars and high-profile films set to dominate theatres. We have Shah Rukh Khan's King, Salman Khan's Battle of Galwan, along with the highly anticipated Dhurandhar 2, Ramayana, Border 2, Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Love and War. That means the audience can expect a lot of action, a lot of drama, patriotism, and a lot more throughout the year. Shosha gets you a lowdown. Take a look.
The year 2025 turned out to be a massive win for Bollywood at the box office, and all signs suggest that 2026 is ready to keep the momentum going. With several big banner films and even bigger stars lined up, cinema halls are expected to stay packed this year. So let's take a look at what Bollywood has lined up for the 2026 box office. 2025 truly belonged to Dhurandhar, a film that went viral for more than just its hard-hitting story. Ranveer Singh, Akshay Khanna, Arjun Rampal, Sanjay Dutt and the rest of the cast delivered a gripping performance in Aditya Dhar's gritty directorial. With Dhurandhar 2 eyeing a March 2026 release, fans are eagerly waiting to see Ranveer return as Hamza as he continues his high-risk undercover mission in Pakistan. Up next, we have Shah Rukh Khan, whose fans are in for a treat as the superstar returns to dominate the box office this year with King. Directed by Siddharth Anand, King will reportedly see SRK mentoring Suhana Khan in a dangerous, high-stakes world while facing powerful enemies. Expectations are sky high and we really can't wait. The list would be incomplete without mentioning the Ranbir Kapoor starrer Ramayan. The teaser of Nitesh Tiwari's ambitious directorial looked nothing short of grand, and many believe the film could turn out to be a landmark in Indian cinema. Ranbir Kapoor has already left a strong impression as Lord Ram, and the retelling of the ancient epic is expected to set new records. The film also stars Sai Pallavi and Yash in pivotal roles. We also have Border 2, the war drama starring Sunny Deol, Diljit Dosanjh, Varun Dhawan and Ahan Shetty, which is set to hit theatres with full force. Packed with action and emotion, the film promises to ignite patriotic fervour all across the country. Another potential blockbuster will arrive in the form of Sanjay Leela Bhansali's Love and War. Starring Ranbir Kapoor, Alia Bhatt and Vicky Kaushal, for now the film is slated for an August 2026 release. With Bhansali's signature grandeur and the powerhouse trio sharing screen space, audiences can expect a visually rich cinematic experience. A year without a Salman Khan release feels incomplete, and Battle of Galwan is all set to fill that gap. Based on the real-life clash between Indian and Chinese troops in the Galwan Valley in June 2020, the film is expected to be intense and gripping. This one's guaranteed to be a must-watch.
And as 2026 has begun, one thing is certain, fashion girls are everywhere. They're on the hunt for the hottest trends out there. Worry not, because we've done all the homework to bring you the key style sheets that will keep you way ahead of the curve. So from statement fringes to full-blown leather obsession, fashion officially stepping into its bold era, we decode the guide to the style set to dominate wardrobes everywhere in year 2026.
Hello fashion girlies! We have officially stepped into a brand new year. And if your wardrobe is itching for a glow up, you have landed at just the right place. We have a feeling that 2026 will be the year when old favorites will meet fresh styling. And trust us, the trends coming your way are too good to ignore. From playful textures to power-packed elements, here is a roundup of all the fashion updates you cannot miss if staying ahead of the style curve is your 2026 mood. If you thought fringes were just having a passing moment, think again. The it trend of 2025 is sashaying straight into 2026 with no plans of slowing down. From Bollywood to Hollywood, be it our Desi divas like Priyanka Chopra, Kareena Kapoor Khan, or global icons like Taylor Swift, fringes have been everywhere, and fashion girlies are clearly not over them yet. For the longest time, ties didn't exactly scream girly girl energy, but that narrative is officially changing. Lately, we have witnessed a number of celebs embracing the shirt and tie combo, and we are obsessed. This once boardroom basic accessory is now the ultimate fashion power move. Oozing structure, attitude, and undeniable it girl confidence. Style it with a muted shirt, slightly undone for that effortless vibe, and you will be serving looks while commanding attention. And rounding up the list, we have the ultimate 80s diva energy. This isn't a comeback anymore, girls. It's a full-blown 80s maximalist takeover. The leather skirt has already secured a permanent spot in our capsule wardrobes, and as we step into 2026, it's only getting stronger. And let's not forget the checkered prints. With its vintage charm and retro appeal, it's winning hearts left, right and center. Here's wishing you all a very happy and a fashionable new year.
Shifting our focus now to the world of sports, from World Cup glory to world records, from frozen rings to global podiums. 2025 was the year Indian sport broke limits and rewrote belief. Here are the top 10 moments, athletes and teams that made the nation stand taller.
2025 wasn't just another year in Indian sport, it was a year of breaking barriers, sealing, shattering and belief turning into medals. Let's rewind the moment that defined a generation. The Indian women's cricket team did what had long felt overdue. In the ICC Women's ODI World Cup final, India beat South Africa by 52 runs to lift their first ever ICC trophy. From scraping into knockouts to stunning Australia in the semis, this was grit meets greatness with Jemima, Harmanpreet, Shafali and player of the tournament Dipti Sharma scripting a night Indian cricket will never forget. At just 19, Divya Deshmukh became the first Indian to win the FIDE Women's World Cup. A tense All-Indian final, a calm under pressure beyond her years and a new grandmaster born from Nagpur to the world. In Doha, Neeraj Chopra crossed a psychological frontier. The 90-meter mark, a number that he was chasing for years, finally conquered at the Doha Diamond League. Second place on the night, first place in Indian sporting lore. Sheetal Devi didn't just win the para-archery world title, she expanded what excellence looks like. Later in the year, she broke another barrier by earning selection into India's able-bodied compound team for the Asia Cup. No labels, just performance. For Sumit, until domination was routine. Another championship record, another world title, third consecutive gold and a standard that keeps moving further out of reach. From village tracks to the global qualification, Animesh Kujur lit up 2025, a new national 100-meter record, a ticket to the World Championships and proof that Indian sprinting has entered a new era. The Indian women's blind cricket team went unbeaten to win the inaugural Women's T20 World Cup for the blind. Fearless batting, relentless bowling, a title run that demanded attention and respect. Indian boxing delivered on the biggest stage as well. Jasmine Lamboria struck gold at the World Boxing Championships while Nupur Sharon powered her way to silver, one of India's finest championship campaigns. Injury, illness, interruptions, none of it stopped Satvik Sairaj and Chirag Shetty World Championship bronze. Big finals and a historic World Tour Finals knockout entry setting a tone for what's next. And in para-badminton, India delivered its best ever Asian Championship haul. 27 medals, 4 of them gold. Against taunts and doubt, Indian women's ice hockey team skated into history. A bronze medal at the Asia Cup in the UAE, from frozen lakes in Ladakh to an international podium. This was belief sharpened by adversity. 10 moments, one message. In 2025, Indian sport didn't just compete, it arrived.
We need to head into a very quick break, but before that, we get you this overdrive verdict, the Yamaha XSR 155. It's finally arrived in India after years of waiting, but has it been worth the wait? In this review, we look at its design, performance, everyday usability and how it fits into today's new retro segment. Take a look.
When Yamaha finally confirmed the XSR 155 for India, the reaction was equal parts excitement and exasperation. Excitement because this is the very bike enthusiasts have been eyeing since it lit up the Asian markets. exasperation because it took half a decade, and in the interim, Yamaha gave us the FZX as our retro offering. Meanwhile, that lovely 155cc VVA motor and that Delta box frame were screaming away happily under the Yamaha MT15 and the R15. But now that the real deal is finally here, priced at about 1.8 lakh rupees on road, the question is quite simple. Was the wait really worth it? Because the good news is that this really is the proper XSR 155, not a watered down India special. But the awkward bit is the market has moved on, not just to the mild hybrids from Hero and Yamaha, but also to the neo-retro 350s and the 400s, which by the way did not enjoy any of those GST reforms. Back to this Yamaha though, in the flesh and away from the studio lights, the XSR 155 looks like what the FZX always pretended to be, a compact, nicely proportioned, old-school roadster. It looks like a proper member of Yamaha's sport heritage family. The proportions are clean, the design is honest, and the details feel deliberate rather than decorative. The round LED headlamp looks retro, but doesn't have a great throw and spread, so aux lights are a must. The contrasting panel on the tank, the ribbed seat, the sculpted panels all around, the 17-inch alloys, they all create a simple yet classy silhouette that could make this motorcycle easily pass as a scaled-down XSR 900. Too bad they don't make it in yellow, but you can always swap the panels, wrap them, paint them, even swap out these bolt-on lights, indicators, whatever you want. It provides a nice canvas if you want to try out some custom works. Nothing is radically new, but it all hangs together in a way that suits the bike's scale. The tank doesn't dwarf the engine, the tail doesn't look like it was awkwardly cut off in a hurry, the stance is neutral. It doesn't feel like the motorcycle is trying to be a scrambler, a cafe racer, an adventure bike, all at the same time, which makes this design quite tidy. Fit and finish live up to Yamaha's usual 150-160cc standards. Crisp switchgear, tightly finished panels, and neat welds on the Delta box frame. The digital single-pod dash looks period correct enough, while still giving you the usual trip, gear position and fuel economy readouts. Compared to the FZX, the difference in design maturity is stark. The FZSX4 bash plate, bulky plastic tank shrouds and the tiara-like instrument panel give it a slightly costume party kind of vibe. Both these bikes run a neo-retro brief on paper, but the XSR looks like it was actually designed by someone who owns old motorcycles. Now, there are a few India-specific visual compromises like that big sari guard, that massive rear flap that holds the registration plate. It all looks massive, but the bike itself doesn't look that massive. It looks much smaller in the flesh compared to what you would see in the photos or the videos. So if you are looking for the stance of a Hunter 350, the road presence of a Royal Enfield, this is not a mini Royal Enfield. This is a 155 at the end of the day. Yamaha hasn't reinvented anything here, which is excellent news. The XSR uses the same 155cc liquid-cooled 4-valve VVA single from the R15 and the MT15, and that gives it an immediate edge. Strong and smooth power delivery, a lively mid-range, a top end that genuinely rewards revving, a light, crisp 6-speed gearbox which feels easy in the city and fun while sport riding. And you get ABS and traction control too, similar to the R15. Yamaha has kept the engine tuning similar to that of the R15, which means all the punch is in the mid and the top end. The result is that compared to the MT15, the retro package has the engine feeling slightly relaxed, while the more upright ergonomics and flatter seat encourage calmer riding, almost tricking you into short shifting. The engine is happy to humor that. It'll amble around town at 30-40 kilometers an hour in 4th or 5th gear without shuddering at all, which is great news. And well, when you really stretch its legs, it does remind you that it's a 155, not a miracle. But beyond 5,000 RPM, that familiar enthusiasm of the R15 returns, and that is something that you will enjoy on most of your commute. It will sit between 100 to 120 kilometers an hour without feeling strained, and remains one of the most refined and versatile small capacity engines that you can buy in India right now.
Daily Star newspaper, one of the leading ones in Bangladesh, is testimony to the fact that how this country is now struggling to come across as a democratic country. Over the next few days, Rahul Malhotra and I will be getting you all the ground reports from across the country.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Devastating tragedy has shaken the nation. India's cleanest city now finds itself in the spotlight for a heartbreaking reason, viewers. 14 people have died caused by contaminated drinking water. What began on Christmas Day with complaints of foul-smelling tap water has now escalated into full-blown public health crisis, viewers. Investigations reveal that a leaking pipeline beneath a public toilet allowed sewage to seep into the water supply. Today, more than 150 residents are receiving treatment in hospitals, with several battling for their lives. Among the victims is a 5-month-old infant as well. Under mounting pressure, the state government has acted swiftly, suspending 3 officials and dismissing 1 as accountability is sought in the wake of this disaster. Have a look.
बालों को दस्त लगे हुए थे, बुखार आ रहा था, उसको डॉक्टर को हमने दिखाया था। चाइल्ड स्पेशलिस्ट डॉक्टर है, उन्होंने मेडिसिन लिख के दे दी थी, हम घर ले आए थे उसको। तो ये 26 तारीख को दिखाया था हमने, 2 दिन ठीक रहा बच्चा, मतलब
And now we bring to you a special section on financial markets powered by Money Control Pro, Money Control's premium destination for investing in business insights. GIFT Nifty indicates a muted start for Indian equity indices. Asian stocks were trading higher today with some remaining shut for New Year holiday. Crude oil prices were flat as investors await upcoming OPEC meeting outcome. Gold and silver advanced in early morning trades as the dollar retreated. On to the housing segment and sector in particular, it presents a long-term growth opportunity. Affordable housing lenders, particularly those with loan ticket sizes up to 15 lakh rupees, are in a sweet spot, and they represent the fastest growing and most attractive sub-segment within housing finance companies. Should investors ride this high wave is the key question. So keep tuning into Money Control Pro to find out more about India's affordable housing sector and other actionable insights. Well, that's all from Team The Breakfast Club today. Thanks for being with us. Thanks for the 1 hour you spent this morning with us. Hope you had a wonderful start to your day. We'll see you same time, same place next Monday.
बराबर उनको सब एक बराबर सजा होना चाहिए, इसलिए सभी ने बार किया। खाली साकू मारा वो भाग गया, बाद में क्या है बोला उसका ऊपर दोष नहीं होना चाहिए, मतलब सभी ने एक बराबर को उसको सजा मिलना चाहिए।
There are 6 people involved in this murder. There is a casteist slur which the victim is alleging, which is there in the FIR, but the police has not invoked section 102.
They just told, तुम्हारा जैसा यहाँ पे हजारों लोग आते हैं कंप्लेन लिखवाने के लिए, हम किसका सुनेंगे, यहाँ से जाओ मत, ऐसा करके बोल दिया उन लोगों ने, पुलिस ने। So they totally refused directly.
This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Devastating tragedy has shaken the nation. India's cleanest city now finds itself in the spotlight for a heartbreaking reason, viewers. 14 people have died caused by contaminated drinking water. What began on Christmas Day with complaints of foul-smelling tap water has now escalated into full-blown public health crisis, viewers. Investigations reveal that a leaking pipeline beneath a public toilet allowed sewage to seep into the water supply. Today, more than 150 residents are receiving treatment in hospitals, with several battling for their lives. Among the victims is a 5-month-old infant as well. Under mounting pressure, the state government has acted swiftly, suspending 3 officials and dismissing 1 as accountability is sought in the wake of this disaster. Have a look.
बालक को दस्त लगे हुए थे, बुखार आ रहा था, उसको डॉक्टर को हमने दिखाया था। चाइल्ड स्पेशलिस्ट डॉक्टर है, उन्होंने मेडिसिन